Welcome back to The Download. I'm Reid Mercer, and this week's docket got busy fast. Spotify is testing a skip-ahead button that lets premium subscribers jump straight past podcast ads, and network sales teams are already panicking. I got 3 calls about it this week alone. Nobody's asking the right question yet, which is, what happens to attribution once skip data exists? Then there's Disney and Hulu striking a licensing deal with iHeart Media, 6 shows, starting with the Jonas Brothers, and it smells a lot like 1990s cable carriage. Somewhere in between, Obama's launching a book podcast, Joe Budden's doing true crime, and Rogan's economics remain, frankly, absurd. 3 very different bets on what talent is actually worth. And by the end of the hour, you'll have 3 questions for your own team on Monday morning. Follow the money. First stop, that skip button, and the ad math nobody's run yet.
We want to hear from you. Submit questions via the web form in the description, or give us a call at 747-234-2678 and leave your question. Don't be shy. Our AI assistant makes it super easy.
Spotify just gave premium subscribers a button that skips podcast ads it didn't sell, and the reaction from the industry is somewhere between a fire drill and a funeral.
Building on that pricing problem, watch what iHeart just did about it. Reuters reported this morning that Disney Plus and Hulu struck a video podcasting deal with iHeart. 6 titles. It starts with the Jonas Brothers' Hey Jonas. Todd Spangler at Variety filled in the rest of the slate. Pod Meets World, plus 4 more shows headed to Hulu. And Disney's own press release nailed the date, August 14th. Now, everyone's calling this a streaming expansion story. It isn't. It's a carriage deal wearing a different jacket. Think about cable in the 90s. MVPDs paid retransmission fees for channels they needed to keep subscribers happy. The channel owner gave up some control, got guaranteed reach. Same trade here, just no cash carriage fee. This is a licensing arrangement. iHeart hands Disney the content. Disney gets premium podcast inventory it didn't have to build. So who's actually winning the ad line? That's the question nobody in either press release answers. If Disney sells the ad inventory around these shows on its platform, iHeart's traded margin control for distribution. Classic carriage economics. You give up the toll booth to get on the highway. And why would iHeart take that trade? Because the real fight isn't Disney versus iHeart, it's everybody versus YouTube. Frank Rossio's piece, the one flagging YouTube driving 40% of new show discovery, that's the number keeping every network executive up at night. Video podcasting stopped being a format experiment. It's a distribution arms race now, and audio-only players are scrambling for any screen that isn't YouTube's. Here's what's interesting about Disney's side of this. They're not building a podcast division, they're renting one. 6 shows, licensed, slotted into an existing app. No original podcast infrastructure, no ad sales team built from scratch. Disney is testing whether podcast content pulls engagement on their platform, with someone else's balance sheet absorbing the production risk. That's a cheap option to buy. If it works, they scale it. If it doesn't, they let the license lapse, and iHeart's the one who overbuilt for a partner that walked.
So ask yourself, if you're running content strategy at a mid-sized network right now, do you have a marquee show good enough to get a platform like Disney on the phone? Because that's the leverage question underneath all of this. iHeart didn't get this deal on volume. They got it on shows Disney actually wanted, which is exactly why the next name on iHeart's roster matters so much. A former president signing on for 6 books is a very different kind of leverage than Jonas Brothers nostalgia.
Building on that leverage point, Obama's the next data point on prestige inventory. Audible and Higher Ground announced a great book, his own book podcast launching September 24th, and iHeartRadio's own trade coverage was the one that picked it up. The New York Times covered the same launch, tying it to Obama's broader deal with Higher Ground. Notice that iHeart is covering someone else's show. That's how scarce real marquee talent has gotten. Every network wants the same handful of household names near their ad inventory. Now flip that against 2 live models already running. MarketWatch sized up Joe Rogan's economics this week, framed around his $14.4 million Austin home. The house isn't the story. The story is one show carrying an entire operation on its own gravity. Then there's Joe Budden. Today, August 11th, Wolf Entertainment launches Crime in America with Joe Budden, built in partnership with Advance, not as a solo empire. Same category, same marquee name playbook, completely different structure underneath it. Here's my problem with all 3. A big name buys you real things. Sales meetings get booked faster. Sponsors show up more confident in the room. What it doesn't reliably buy is download growth that holds past the launch window. Rogan is the exception, not the rule, and every network chasing that outcome is pricing an outlier in as a base case. Ask your team this: does the audience actually compound month over month, or does it spike at launch and settle back to whatever a competent unknown host would have drawn anyway? Nobody wants to run that math when the deck already has a Jonas Brothers slide in it. 6 months from now, check which of these 3 shows still has a rate card holding steady. And July's ad spend numbers just landed, which means we're about to find out if the money's actually there to support any of this.
Speaking of money, July's numbers just landed, and they tell you exactly who's nervous. According to Podcast News Daily, overall ad spend eased last month, but 6 of the top 10 advertisers actually increased their commitment, and Shopify held the #1 spot. So the incumbents are doubling down, while the marginal buyer pulls back. Money's consolidating around proven performers.
So that's the download today. The skip button isn't a UX story, it's a pricing lever, and it exposes something the industry's dodged for years: host-read ads with no verified completion metric. And the iHeart Disney deal? Same pattern as the 1990s carriage fights. Reach traded for margin control. Watch that ad line closely. If you run sales or ops, bring 3 questions to your team Monday. What's your skip exposure? Who owns the impression data? And who actually monetizes inventory when a big platform licenses your content? That's the homework that matters this week. Forward this to a colleague who needs it. Tips and feedback go to thedownload@heymato.com. Thanks for listening. Back next week with more signal, less noise.